Welcome to Movies for the New Generation. Before Cobra Kai, there was the movie that inspired a whole generation, and that movie is called The Karate Kid. The year is 1984. Daniel LaRusso, a spirited 17-year-old, has just had his world turned upside down. Born and raised in New Jersey, he is forced to move across the country to Los Angeles, California, because of his mother's new job. After a long, exhausting journey, they finally arrive at their new apartment complex. While unpacking, Daniel meets an outgoing neighbor named Freddie. Eager to welcome the new kid, Freddie invites Daniel to a beach party. At the beach, Daniel hangs out with his new neighbors and tries to adjust to the California lifestyle. Afterward, Freddie drops him back off at home. Inside the apartment, Daniel goes to turn on the kitchen tap, but the fixture snaps and water begins leaking everywhere. His mother, Lucille, walks in. She said that the landlord told her there's an old man who handles all the maintenance and plumbing around here, so she instructs him to go and see if he can find the man to fix this leak. In the evening, a group of teenagers gathers on the beach, where they light a bonfire and enjoy the beautiful atmosphere. Ellie is there with her friends, laughing and having a great time. Suddenly, Johnny arrives with his friends on their motorcycles. Johnny is Ellie's ex-boyfriend, a black belt karate champion, and one of the best students at the local karate academy. Ellie has no interest in talking to him because she recently broke up with him and wants to move on with her life. However, Johnny is still angry about the breakup and cannot accept it. In a fit of anger, he grabs Ellie's music box and smashes it to pieces. Seeing this, Daniel steps forward and tries to stop him, but Johnny and his friends turn on Daniel and beat him up badly. Later that night, Daniel returns home wearing sunglasses to hide the bruises around his eyes. His mother notices the glasses and asks him to take them off. When she sees the injuries on his face, she becomes very worried. Daniel lies to her and says that he fell off his bicycle. The next day, Daniel starts his first day at a new school. During a break, he practices football on the playground because he hopes to earn a place on the school's team. While practicing, he meets Ellie again and they begin talking. Johnny is also at the school and notices them together. Furious with jealousy, he tells his friends to go after Daniel once more. As Johnny's friends start walking toward Daniel, he remains unaware of the trouble that is about to begin, and the tension continues to rise. When the match begins, Johnny deliberately kicks Daniel's leg. Angry at being attacked, Daniel immediately strikes Johnny back. Seeing the fight, the coach rushes over and throws Daniel out of the game. From a distance, Ali witnesses everything, but because she has a dance class, she cannot come over to help him. Back at home, Daniel becomes obsessed with getting revenge on Johnny. He starts studying karate from a book, hoping to teach himself how to fight. At the same time, the old maintenance man arrives at the house to repair a broken water tap. While working, he notices Daniel practicing karate moves by himself. The next day at school, Daniel and Ali spend more time together, and their friendship gradually grows stronger. Ali tells Daniel that her relationship with Johnny is completely over. Hearing this makes Daniel very happy. After school, Daniel visits a karate academy called Cobra Kai because he wants to learn karate properly. However, as soon as he enters, he sees Johnny training there. Not wanting any trouble, Daniel angrily leaves the academy. Johnny notices Daniel before he leaves and is pleased to see him. Later that day, while Daniel is walking home, Johnny and his friends ride up on their motorcycles. They surround him and shove him to the ground. Daniel falls hard and hurts his head. Furious and humiliated, he returns home and begs his mother to let him learn karate. His mother refuses, explaining that they do not have much money and that she does not want her son getting involved in fights. Eventually, she manages to calm him down, but their entire conversation is overheard by Mr. Miyagi. A few days later, Daniel and Ali are leaving school together when Daniel suddenly spots Johnny nearby. Instantly nervous, he turns around and starts walking the other way. Ali tells him that sooner or later he will have to face Johnny. Just then, Johnny appears and says, "This is not that time." After that, Daniel returns home and notices his bicycle standing in front of the house. To his surprise, it looks completely repaired and almost brand new. Seeing it, Daniel becomes very happy. He immediately goes to Mr. Miyagi and asks if he was the one who fixed the bicycle. Mr. Miyagi smiles and confirms that he repaired it. Mr. Miyagi then asks Daniel to come with him. He is trimming and shaping some bonsai trees in his garden. Daniel finds the work interesting, so Mr. Miyagi begins teaching him how to carefully trim and care for the plants. A little later, Daniel's mother arrives looking for him. Mr. Miyagi warmly greets her and gifts her a bonsai tree. He also gives one to Daniel so that he can practice taking care of it himself. The next day at school, the students are excited because a Halloween party is being organized. Daniel does not want to attend because he does not have a costume. Wanting to help him, Mr. Miyagi creates a unique shower costume for the event. Daniel wears the costume so that Johnny and his friends will not recognize him. That evening, Daniel arrives at the Halloween party where he meets Ali. Everything seems to be going well until Daniel enters the restroom area and notices Johnny smoking a cigarette. Wanting to get back at him, Daniel secretly turns on a water hose above Johnny and quickly runs away before anyone notices. However, Johnny soon realizes what happened. Furious, he and his friends chase Daniel, catch him, and begin beating him up. Just when the situation becomes serious, Mr. Miyagi suddenly appears. Using his incredible karate skills, he easily defeats Johnny and his friends and rescues Daniel. Before losing consciousness, Daniel catches a glimpse of Mr. Miyagi's amazing karate techniques. Mr. Miyagi then carries him home and treats his injuries. After recovering, Daniel asks Mr. Miyagi why he never told him that he knew karate. Mr. Miyagi replies that Daniel had never asked before. He then explains that he learned karate from his father and has practiced it for many years. Daniel wanted to learn karate from Mr. Miyagi because he wanted revenge on Johnny and the Cobra Kai students. However, Miyagi told him that revenge was not a good reason to learn karate. Despite this, Daniel insisted, and eventually Miyagi agreed to help him. Miyagi then took Daniel to the Cobra Kai Academy, where Johnny trained. Johnny immediately told his teacher that the old man had beaten them up. The Cobra Kai instructor challenged Miyagi to fight him right there, but Miyagi refused. Instead, he suggested that Daniel and Johnny settle their rivalry in the upcoming All-Valley Karate Championship. Miyagi confidently declared that Daniel would defeat Johnny in the tournament. He also demanded that no one from Cobra Kai should bother Daniel until the competition. The instructor agreed and ordered his students not to disturb Daniel for the next 2 months. After leaving the dojo, Daniel became frustrated and asked Miyagi how he was supposed to defeat Johnny. Miyagi replied, "At least you won't get beaten up by them for the next 2 months." Before they left, the Cobra Kai instructor warned them that if they failed to appear at the tournament, he would not spare them. Miyagi then drove Daniel to his house. There, Daniel was amazed to see Miyagi's collection of classic cars. Miyagi finally agreed to teach him karate, but he had one condition. Daniel had to do everything he was told without asking any questions. Daniel accepted the condition. Miyagi then gave him his first task, washing his cars. He instructed Daniel, wax on with your right hand, wax off with your left hand. As Daniel began polishing and cleaning the cars, unaware that this simple task was actually the beginning of his karate training. Miyagi also instructed Daniel to make circles with his right hand on the right side and circles with his left hand on the left side. Daniel followed the instructions, repeating the same movements again and again. Before he realized it, night had fallen. He spent the entire day doing these tasks, yet he still couldn't understand what any of it had to do with karate. The next day, Daniel returned, expecting to begin his training. Instead, Miyagi handed him a brush and told him to clean a large wooden deck using the same circular motions he had used while waxing the cars. Daniel spent the whole day scrubbing the wood. Since he had promised not to ask any questions, he remained silent, even though he was becoming more and more confused. At this point, Daniel had no idea whether he had come to learn karate or simply to help clean Miyagi's property. He hoped that his real training would begin on the 3rd day. But when he arrived, Miyagi handed him a can of paint and told him to paint the entire fence around the house. Miyagi carefully demonstrated the motion, explaining that all the movement should come from the wrist. Once again, Daniel spent the entire day working. Yet his karate lessons still had not begun. Daniel convinced himself that the next day would finally be different. However, when he arrived the following morning, he found a note from Miyagi. In the message, Miyagi explained that he had gone fishing and instructed Daniel to paint the entire house using the same up and down motions he had practiced while painting the fence. Frustrated but determined, Daniel spent another full day painting. By the time Miyagi returned home that evening, Daniel had reached his limit. He angrily confronted Miyagi and complained that for 4 straight days he had done nothing but wash cars, clean wood, paint fences, and paint houses. He demanded to know when he would finally start learning karate. To Daniel's surprise, Miyagi calmly replied that his karate training had already begun and that he had learned far more than he realized. Miyagi then asked Daniel to repeat the movements he had been doing while cleaning. As Daniel went through each motion, he suddenly realized that all those cleaning tasks were actually training exercises designed for self-defense. Understanding this made him very happy as he finally saw the purpose behind Miyagi's unusual teaching methods. The next day, Miyagi took Daniel out onto the water in a small boat. Daniel expected to learn how to punch and fight, but Miyagi had a different lesson in mind. He told Daniel that before learning how to punch, he first needed to improve his balance. Standing and practicing on top of the boat would help him develop that skill. Although it was challenging, Daniel continued his training. The following day, we see Daniel and Ali at school. Soon, Johnny and his friends appear in front of them. Because of the agreement that they would not touch Daniel for the next 2 months, Daniel feels more confident and even teases them a little. Later, Daniel asks Ali if she would like to go out with him that night. However, Ali suggests that instead of going out, he should come to her house and meet her parents. That evening, Ali brings Daniel home and introduces him to her mother and father. After meeting him, she tells her parents that she is going out with Daniel. As they prepare to leave, they discover that their car will not start. Because of this, Daniel and Ali have to push the car by hand. Afterward, Ali's mother drives them to a nearby place, telling them to spend some time together and enjoy themselves. Before leaving, she reminds them to return within a few hours. The next day, we see Mr. Miyagi taking Daniel to the beach. While they are there, Miyagi practices a special karate technique by himself. As Daniel watches him perform the movements with incredible speed and precision, he becomes completely shocked and impressed. After that, Miyagi allows Daniel to drive the boat while he sits back and spends some time fishing. This gives Daniel another opportunity to improve his balance and confidence. In the next scene, Ali invites Daniel to a party. Everything seems to be going well until Johnny notices Daniel's presence. Trying to make Daniel jealous, Johnny grabs Ali, hugs her, and even forcefully kisses her in front of everyone. Feeling uncomfortable, Daniel decides to leave. However, as he walks away, he accidentally bumps into a waiter carrying food and drinks. The tray spills and noodles fall all over him. Seeing this embarrassing moment, Johnny and his friends burst into laughter and begin making fun of Daniel. Humiliated, Daniel leaves the party. Ali is furious after witnessing Johnny's behavior. Angry at the way he treated Daniel, she slaps Johnny in front of everyone. Meanwhile, Daniel returns to Miyagi's house, still upset about everything that happened. When he arrives, he finds Miyagi drunk for the first time. During their conversation, Miyagi opens up about his painful past. He tells Daniel that his wife is no longer alive. While he was away fighting in World War II, his wife died while giving birth to their child. Tragically, their baby boy also did not survive. Miyagi reveals that today is actually his wife's birthday, which is why he has been drinking and remembering her. After hearing this heartbreaking story, Daniel feels deeply saddened. Over time, he has grown very close to Miyagi, and seeing his mentor carry such pain in silence affects him greatly. Eventually, Miyagi falls asleep. As Daniel looks around the room, he notices several military medals and awards that Miyagi earned during the war. Realizing how much Miyagi has sacrificed and endured throughout his life, Daniel's respect and trust for him grow even stronger. Later that night, Daniel goes outside alone and begins practicing. He repeats the same technique that he had seen Miyagi performing in the ocean earlier that day. The following morning, Daniel continues his training with even greater determination. Seeing his dedication, Miyagi begins teaching him more advanced techniques and shares many of his karate skills with him. As time passes, Daniel's abilities improve significantly, and before long, his birthday finally arrives. On Daniel's birthday, Mr. Miyagi surprises him with a very special gift, a karate uniform that had been handmade by Miyagi's late wife many years ago. The gift carries deep emotional value, making it one of the most meaningful presents Daniel has ever received. In return, Daniel proudly shows Miyagi his newly acquired driver's license. Seeing this, Miyagi smiles and takes him outside. To Daniel's complete shock, he reveals an entire collection of cars and tells him to choose anyone he likes as a birthday gift. Overwhelmed with excitement, Daniel carefully looks through the collection before selecting the car he likes the most. After thanking Miyagi, he immediately drives it to meet Ali. When Daniel arrives, the two initially argue about what happened at the party. Daniel is still hurt and confused by everything he witnessed. However, Ali's friends quickly explain what happened after he left. They tell him that Ali slapped Johnny in front of everyone because she was furious about the way Johnny treated Daniel. Hearing the truth changes everything. Daniel realizes that Ali never intended to hurt him, and the misunderstanding between them is finally resolved. The two reconcile and become close once again. The following day, Daniel and Miyagi head to the All Valley Karate Championship. As they arrive, the tournament officials explain that only competitors holding a black belt are allowed to participate in the event. Since Daniel doesn't officially have a black belt, Miyagi finds a creative solution. He obtains a black belt and hands it to Ali, who then proudly presents it to Daniel. With that, Daniel is officially ready to enter the competition. Before long, the tournament begins. In his first match, Daniel faces another young competitor. The fight is intense, and at one point his opponent lands a powerful kick that sends Daniel crashing to the mat. Despite the painful blow, Daniel refuses to give up. He regains his focus, returns to the fight, and eventually defeats his opponent, earning a place in the next round. Meanwhile, in another ring, the Cobra Kai students are dominating their matches. However, they aren't fighting with honor. Instead, they use aggressive and ruthless tactics, often ignoring the spirit of the competition. Watching their behavior makes Daniel increasingly nervous, as he realizes he may have to face them sooner or later. His fears soon become reality. In the next round, Daniel is matched against one of the Cobra Kai fighters. The moment the fight begins, the Cobra Kai student targets Daniel's leg with a vicious attack. The strike is so powerful that Daniel is badly injured and collapses onto the floor in pain. The crowd is shocked by the blatant foul. After reviewing the incident, the tournament officials immediately disqualify the Cobra Kai fighter and ban him from the match for violating the rules. Although Daniel wins the round by disqualification, his injured leg leaves his chances of continuing in the tournament hanging by a thread. But Daniel refused to give up. Looking directly at Miyagi, he told him that he still wanted to fight. He begged his mentor to help him get back on his feet. Miyagi calmly reminded Daniel that he had already proven himself. He had faced every challenge with courage and had shown everyone the heart of a true fighter. But Daniel wasn't satisfied. He replied that if he quit now, people would only remember that he got injured before the final. He wanted to finish what he had started and prove to everyone, including himself, that he could stand up to Johnny and fight until the very end. Seeing the determination in his students' eyes, Miyagi finally agreed to help. Using a special healing technique, he carefully treated Daniel's injured leg. Back in the arena, the crowd waited anxiously for the championship match to begin. Then Ali stepped onto the stage and proudly announced that Daniel was ready to fight. The audience erupted with excitement as Daniel returned to the mat. Moments later, the final match between Daniel and Johnny officially began. Both fighters gave everything they had. Daniel managed to score the first point, taking an early lead. Johnny quickly fought back, refusing to surrender. The battle continued with incredible intensity, and before long, the score was tied at 2-2. Everything now depended on the final point. As the entire arena watched in suspense, Daniel remembered the secret technique he had practiced for countless hours on the beach, the crane technique. Balancing on one leg, he assumed the familiar stance. Johnny charged forward, hoping to finish the fight. At the perfect moment, Daniel launched himself into the air and delivered a flawless crane kick straight to Johnny's face. The strike landed cleanly. Johnny was knocked down instantly, and the referee awarded Daniel the winning point. The crowd exploded with cheers. Against all odds, Daniel had won the All Valley Karate Championship. Watching from the sidelines, Miyagi couldn't hide his pride and happiness. Johnny approached Daniel, personally handed him the championship trophy, and acknowledged him as the true winner. And with that, the movie comes to an end.